As of right now, we only have 15 videos left to do, which is like, wow, it's immense, but I mean, we're still going. It's day 27, and day 27 is gotta be, race, identity, NPR, podcast. Okay, that's the vibe. And getting my flu shot, yay! Okay.
Quadeca has made the most ambitious album of 2025, a self-produced magnum opus that invites the listener to share the experience of sailing through life on a voyage of self-discovery. If you can't tell by that intro or my first reaction to the album,
So good.
I quite like the record, which is why I had to dive deeper. So come with me as we explore the 69-minute odyssey that is Vanisher Horizon Scraper. The album starts with a puzzling 6-minute ambient piece titled No Questions Asked. The only lyrics in the song are this refrain echoes again and again in a mesmerizing loop. The music swells, flowing in an unrelenting rhythm, like the endless rise and retreat of a tide that never actually breaks. Now I say it's puzzling not because of its sonic landscape, which you'll see fits seamlessly into the record. What is bugging me is that repetitive refrain. I'll be there when no one is. No questions asked. A message of loyalty, but to who? Or what? Something we won't find out to the end of the album. To give you context, Vanisher Horizon Scraper is a genre-bending, concept-driven record that fuses art pop, folktronica, hip-hop, and orchestral elements, which mirror the vast emotional and narrative scope of the story. This release via his own X8 music label marks Quadeca's 4th studio release and arrived alongside a self-directed visual film. The core idea of the album centers around a lone sailor who sets out aboard his boat, Vanisher, on a voyage of self-discovery, ultimately hoping to reach the horizon, or at least just scrape it. The horizon is a symbol of an idealistic world, a place beyond conflict, beyond confusion, a life with clarity, purpose, peace. However, by its very nature, touching the horizon is of course an impossible task. A task so great that our sailor spirals into obsession, confronting personal and cosmic turmoil. Quadeca has likened the sailor's journey to his own process as an artist, a pursuit that, in his words, is a selfish endeavor, often isolating and capable of straining relationships. So while this is undeniably a concept album built around a fictional character, it's just as clear that fragments of Quadeca's real self surface throughout the record. So yeah, it's quite the journey, but how do we get from setting sail in search of self to confronting mythical dragons? It all begins with a question. Who am I?
Invitation means to people watching.
You know, these teeny tiny moments where you know someone gets it, someone has had that experience that speaks to you.
Stay with us.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from Dataiku. Enterprises are under pressure to launch hundreds of AI applications when data teams are stretched thin, leaving potential value trapped in spreadsheets, siloed systems, and slow development cycles. That's where Dataiku comes in, the universal AI platform that makes building AI apps accessible to anyone with low-code tools that drive real-world impact from data. Visit dataiku.com/NPR, dataiku.com/NPR.
This message comes from Shopify. Growing your retail business gets a whole lot easier with Shopify Point of Sale. Shopify POS connects your retail business on one platform. This means smoother checkouts and deeper customer relationships. And the best part? When you switch to Shopify POS, you'll get a free card reader and a real human being to personally help with your point of sale setup and data migration. Eligibility requirements apply. To learn more, visit shopify.com/switch now.
This message comes from Babbel. Babbel's conversation-based language technique teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/NPR. Spelled BABBEL.com/NPR. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This message is from Synchrony Bank.
And to feel nowadays. And the nihilism of like, we weren't meant to be everywhere all at once. And I think sometimes living on Twitter and living on the internet and social media makes it feel very much like you're supposed to be everywhere, everything all at once. And being queer is kind of a big part of that. Like, it's like this whole big jumbled mess, and I think the movie really did a good job of showing how jumbled and messy it is without telling you what it's supposed to feel like.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that sort of nihilistic mode, Andrew, because that was definitely the part that I loved the most, was sort of like the Nietzschean questions that were being thrown out here. And like Mallory said, they don't tell you how to feel, but they are throwing these ideas and so many other ideas out there just for you to sort of ponder. And even though there are so many ideas, it never feels jumbled in a way. At least to me, it didn't feel jumbled. Andrew, what did you think of that aspect of it?
It's incredible how heart on its sleeve it was, and yet how not corny it was.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
they nailed, existing is hard and difficult, but it is worth doing. It pulls it off with all of its underlying metaphor, I guess is the way to be like, posy vibes without being cringe.
Positive vibes without being cringe. That's a really difficult line to draw.
On waging war, our sailor is yet to depart as he engages in a battle in his own mind. When I looked up Google's definition of waging war, I came across its definition in the context of spiritual conflict, reading, "It can refer to the struggle believers face in upholding their faith against opposing forces." Now on this track, Quedeca isn't our only voice. We also hear the gorgeous vocals of Oleka in the chorus of part 1. It seems like this is the voice of Quedeca's conscience, or the opposing force. The chorus begins by giving pretty standard advice, but as it progresses, submits to the fact that this common solution will simply not work. My interpretation is that this war being waged is one of the sailor's heart versus his head. The logical choice would be to not embark on this seemingly futile exhibition to reach the horizon, but everything in his heart tells him he must do so. And inevitably, he surrenders. The surrender in itself is a part of the war. One line that
Competing priorities without some help. Grammarly is the essential AI communication assistant that boosts your productivity at work so you can get more of what you need done faster. Just a few clicks can tailor your tone and writing so you come across exactly as you intend. Get time back to focus on your high-impact work. Download Grammarly for free at grammarly.com/podcast. That's grammarly.com/podcast.
Watching a show like The Bachelorette, where the premise is that one woman must choose the perfect person out of a group of 25 men that have been pre-selected for her, the casting is the thing. So I decided to talk to someone who had first-hand knowledge of how those machinations work. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me.
Yeah, of course. My name is Jazzy Collins. I'm a casting director, and I'm based in Los Angeles.
I was very excited to talk to someone who is in the casting world because I don't know how any of this particularly works. I just know that the end result stresses me out, and I'm not the only one. Jazzy is someone who, after working for the Bachelor franchise, came out publicly to call out the often racist ways the show is staffed and produced.
Yeah, I started in reality TV roughly in 2014.
A few years later, when Jazzy worked at The Bachelorette as a casting producer, she was one of the few black producers on staff, and her job was to interview potential cast members to decide if they would be a good fit for that show.
We want to make sure that we're hitting different types of archetypes when it comes to characters that you want to see on screen.
So it's something like The Bachelor, or like, all right, we need a general contractor, we need an army vet, we need a man who's just been unlucky in love.
Yeah, for The Bachelor, they had a lot of requirements for both men and women. There was height requirements, there was weight requirements, there were very specific bachelor types that they were looking for. All the women, they wanted between like 5'4", 5'5", up to roughly 5'9". 5'10" was a huge stretch, like they really didn't want that.
I still got a chance. I'm 5'9", I still got a chance.
Pageant women were our favorites to usually cast.
A lot of people with great teeth.
Yes, great teeth. We've done 2 black bachelorettes. We've done 1 black bachelor, which went horribly wrong. But then we were like, okay, let's move on to a Asian bachelorette. Okay, well, this is a good foot in the right direction. But the cast only had 1 Asian man on there, which is not representative of the United States or the people that are going to be dating. I'm sure Jen, which I'm pretty sure she went on the record saying that she wished she saw more Asian men in the lineup. And only having 1 is not indicative of what I'm sure she would have preferred to date. And I saw that there was a lot of black men. I also saw that there was 1 plus size man when I was like, yes. I was like, yes. I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. But the one thing that was missing was Asian men, which didn't make sense to me. They have, especially when we were casting for Rachel Lindsay's season, we had so many black men that came into that office, and we put a lot of black men on that show. But knowing that you didn't do the same thing for the next first was really frustrating for me.
Okay, I don't want to spoil it for you, but let me just tell you, the bigger man did not make it through.
Oh, no.
Through the first rose ceremony, he went home. But I mean, the Vietnamese American man, he hangs on for a long time.
That's good.
The one thing that's happening is he's there, but he's also there as I'm just like you.
Oh.
Or to have someone to relate to. And that, I also want to speak Vietnamese to my children one day. We have similar backgrounds in that respect.
But that's the frustrating part of that's why it's so important when you're casting to have diversity and not just have the one, because you are now in a situation where you're going to be treated as the token. You're going to be in this very high stress environment. I say reality shows are pressure cookers. And when you are on one of those, you are going to be in the fight or flight mode all of the time. So knowing that you're the only one that's like that, and you feel like you have a duty to represent all Asian Americans, that's a lot of stress for that person. And now it also kind of feels like he's only on the show for a certain amount of time just because he's Asian, rather than we want to actually hear his story and see him fall in love with Jen.
Highlights this. The white flag, in this case, not only being a symbol of surrender, but also referring to the cells on the boat, which you have to tow.
Okay, so how did it go? Vaccines. Fluid on the left, COVID vaccine on the right. I feel like okay. I feel like this. It's like a stim pack, but you don't know what a stim pack is. What do you mean by that? I feel like the muscles. My right side's good, really enough. My left side, muscle contraction, but we good. And then like the next footage, you see me like, I don't even know. But I'm honestly, I feel it's not that quick, but I'm like, okay, I think it's 2 days to settle in, and then for 2 weeks, so it goes through my system. I think that's what the lady said. There are people at the Costco who are also taking flu shots, so it wasn't just me. There was like 8 other people, and then I was the second one called in. So I was like, whoa, okay, how many other flu shots are people getting, bro? Then set it up. But what you need, you go up to the front to the prescription pickup. You ask if you're gonna take a flu shot. It's gotta be running, and you fill out the form. And after filling out the form, you give it back, and then you wait off to the side. Then you wait, and then you get called in, and then you gotta explain to them, oh my gosh, you also need the COVID vaccine because they only thought it was a flu. Which I'm like, I didn't know. Like, on the board it says flu shot, and then to the lady I was like, what are you getting? I guess a flu shot. And on the document it has other multiple options, so I didn't clock that I had to like specify all the things I wanted to have on my arms, so that was a kicker. But I signed it, they took the form away, and then I have not seen the form, and then I go back, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I need a receipt. Then I wait for my receipt, and then I'm going to do that stuff. But hopefully tomorrow, I think I'll feel the effects tomorrow. Right now, I think it's just adrenaline pumping. Like, you feel like when you have like sugar, and then the vibe's like, yeah, I'm having sugar high. That's the vibe right now. But Tylenol would be great. Good thing I ate. But yeah. And then the lady was joking when I said I wanted the COVID. It's like, so you want COVID and flu on the left side? And I'm like, ah ha ha ha, lady. No. You insane. But I know she was joking. So I separated that. I think what I want to do today is I'm going to work on my independent study stuff, because I promised Brigitte that I was going to do that. I'll worry about my lighting stuff while I do my thing, because I'm just going to do like material parameter stuff for my thing and how I translate that and learn cop. And I'll make an example cop material so I can learn how to integrate it and make a better bridge system. Yes. I do like Houdini. You're like, what do you mean? Until I get into the materials now, and then I'm like, yeah, I know Houdini now. I know Houdini. We're gonna be holding back the limitations of Houdini exportation, and it's like, yeah, no, my full power now is Houdini. I'm like, wow, like I know. But I think Houdini is not, like, you have to really be intrigued in doing any softwares like that. Like, if not even Houdini, like even Unreal, it's like you're gonna motivate yourself to make something in order to learn something. That's the kicker. I think just for any type of software that you use in the game, film industry, it's like, what are you gonna use it for? And you're like, I don't know. Like even if you don't know what the software does, it's sort of like you explore it via what you want to use it for. Like, I want to learn how to make video edits. Then you can use DaVinci if you're cheap, or you can use Adobe Premiere Pro if you're the type of god I am. Limelight. That's not a Limelight. But look at that God rays though. There's like, you see that subtle? You see that subtle hint? That's not edited. That's just real. Maybe when I edit in Premiere Pro, you won't see it, but in my view right now, on my hair. Praise the Lord. I thank God. Out of context. Dude, I should, you know what I should do? I feel like I should do, like, one of the things, like those top 5 moments edits for each of my days. Like, that would be funny. I could do that in a minute. Yeah, I can do that. That'd be great. But after I figure out how to do material stuff, I gotta make a video about it. Then I'll send it to Brigitte. Then I will learn how to make a bridge, procedural bridge doc. That'd be cool. And I'll also show her the rigid body dynamic stuff for my VFX or destruction, because I think that's valuable to just like learn as well, because I'm gonna have some orbital things. So just I also learned in his class like vellum, so that's great for Brussels. And that's great. Otherwise, yeah, I now slowly feel, you know, those that's, you know, this is a niche thing, you know, those like not wafers, but like papers of like the grape flavor thing, like with medicine, you like put this paper thing in your tongue and then it melts and dissolves. That's what it feels like on my right arm now. It feels like my left arm is actually fine. Like moving it around is fine, but if I don't move it around, then it's like, it's sort of like a rash feeling, like on my left arm, shoulder, which is like, okay, great. I think God and the everything that I've done. It's just nice today. See, and imagine yesterday. Yesterday was all, look at this infrared trees, bro. But yesterday, you saw it be raining. That's kind of crazy, you know. Spring comes next, am I right, boys? You're like, what do you mean? Spring comes next, am I right, boys? You're like, no, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? Only the real ones know how tight this costume is. A little bit of spoilers, but you know, that's how it is. Name the fit check. I am the knight that guides all cars. I am the one who controls traffic. That's it. You know, that's the tagline. We back. We kind of giving Ronin vibes though, I'm not gonna lie. Like the sleeves are new. I don't have my cape on. I will have my, when you see the cape though, that's when you know it's no. When you see the traffic stuff, that's when you know. But this is my fit, Halloween fit, you know. Represent those who have fallen. Rip.
and then protector for the all of communities.
So pretty big. There's not as much stretching going on, and you kind of need UVs in order to do.
I'm not even watching Apple TV, man. I'm doing my assignments, man. Bruh, 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 bruh.